Hello, BookTube. I have a three-book mail haul for you here. A nice, small, manageable mail haul on a harrowing day here in Boston. I had to go. I had errands. I had to actually leave Hyde Cottage and go out into the world. You would think, well, don't you love Boston? Why would that be harrowing? And there's a simple reason for that. 3 words: Red Sox Nation. The Boston Red Sox, the baseball team that is beloved here in Boston, won the World Series, and today there was a parade in Boston. And a secondary characteristic of Patriots or Red Sox parades are the floats going by with the players and cheering crowds. But the main characteristic for such parades is explosive magma volcano eruptions of vomit. Because Red Sox Nation turns up to these things at 11 in the morning, already 3 sheets to the wind, already blind pig, stumbling, vomiting, drunk. And they just get worse as the event goes on. So so the sidewalks were absolutely crammed with weaving, bleary-eyed, regalia-wearing fans, and that made it a little trying to be outside, out and about. But nevertheless, I had to go, and then I hurried back to sanity and sense. Walked my little schnauzer on the little side streets up the hill. No traffic, no people, just lawns, little houses, trees everywhere. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. And then I came back to some books. So we'll see what we have here. We do end with a box. So it's only 3, but we'll see what we have. What's that, baby girl? Oh, she. Okay. All right. Well, how do you like that? Okay, so this comes out in November. This is a book that will be familiar to a lot of you because it was hugely reviewed and praised when it came out in the UK a little earlier. This is the next book by the author of The Heart's Invisible Furies, John Boyne. This is A Ladder to the Sky. This is, and believe it or not, even though this is a 2019 release. No, this is 2018. Okay, this comes out in November. I swear, thanks to BookTube, the dividing line between UK release and American release is so porous for me now. I guess I watch a lot of UK booktubers, so I'm familiar with these books, even though they're not available in America yet. And this one is now, and I've already read it. And the reason why, I wonder if I can. No, I can't. Okay, it's buried. The reason why I've already read it is because I saw this cover. It's the shallowest reason in the world. I saw this cover and I saw the UK cover. The UK cover is so much better that I got it. I just went to Book Depository and got it instead of this. Even though I knew I was going to be getting this, I didn't care. The one I want to keep is the UK cover, which I guess maybe I can link to Amazon UK so that you can click a link and see it. But that's the cover of the American version. And this is a story about writers. It's a story about the creative process. Let me see if I can. These things are taped together. So let's. This is multi-pages. This is taped together. Okay. Let's see here. So that is the cover. Looks like a CIA report. Internationally acclaimed novelist John Boyne is back, this time with an unputdownable literary psychodrama that will delight, surprise, and terrify readers. It is unputdownable. It is tremendously good. Very different in a lot of ways than Heart's Invisible Furies, but really, really good. Maurice Swift is handsome, charming, and hungry for fame. The one thing he doesn't have is talent. But he's not about to let that stand in his way. Working as a waiter in a West Berlin hotel in 1988, Maurice finds the lucky opportunity to learn from the truly talented, a chance encounter with celebrated novelist Eric Ackerman. He quickly ingratiates himself with the powerful and desperately lonely older man, who bestows on Maurice the slightly nebulous role of personal assistant. Once firmly embedded in Eric's world, Maurice takes advantage of his literary contacts and graciously offered guidance, while working to tease out of Eric a terrible, long-held secret about his activities during the war. Taking to heart Eric's advice that he pay attention to other people's stories, Maurice finds the perfect inspiration for his first novel, Consequences Be Damned. With a familiar all about Eve kind of template, but this author works hard. He works hard to entertain you. He doesn't matter how cliche some of his stuff is. Heart's Invisible Furies was loaded with cliches. It didn't matter because it was all done with such incredible integrity, such incredible enthusiasm that you didn't mind. And this is the same way. I didn't know. I was under the impression this didn't come out until next year in America. Didn't know this was a 2018 release in America, but it is, and so I'm well prepared because I've already read it. I've already read it, and I really liked it. I can't wait to see what kind of reception it gets here in the States. I can't wait to see how it's reviewed. My suspicion is that it will barely be reviewed at all. That it will almost sink without a ripple, but we shall see. So that's how we start things off, with a novel I've already read. Great. And then we start things off with a novel I've already read, and also with a shameful confession. Shameful, shallow confession, because I actually preemptively got the edition of this book that I know I'm going to want to keep. John Boyne, I want to keep his novels. The Heart's Invisible Furies I loved, and this one I had a feeling I was going to love. I think this author has reached a point in his writing career where he's writing the kind of fiction I really love. And I knew that I wanted the UK edition instead of the American edition. That's the only reason that I've already read it. So what have we got next here? This has got to be 2019. Okay. Does that have a paper in it? No, it does not. All right. This comes out in February. Doesn't have a sheet of any kind in it that I can see. But this is by Patrick Radden Keefe, and it is Say Nothing. That cover, that brooding cover. The subtitle is The True Story of Murder and Memory in Northern Ireland. And I wanted it right away as soon as I read the description. In December of 1972, Jean McConville, a 38-year-old mother of 10, was dragged from her Belfast home by masked intruders, her children clinging to her legs. They never saw her again. Her abduction was one of the most notorious episodes in the vicious conflict known as the Troubles. People in Belfast knew the IRA was responsible, but in a climate of fear and paranoia, no one would speak of it. In 2003, 5 years after an accord brought an uneasy peace to Northern Ireland, a set of human bones was discovered on a beach. McConville's children knew it was their mother when they were told a blue safety pin was attached to the garments. With so many kids, she had always kept it handy for diapers or torn clothes. The author's mesmerizing book on the bitter conflict in Northern Ireland and its aftermath uses the McConville case as a starting point for the tale of a society racked by a violent guerrilla war. And I know the case, and this is going to break my heart. I know that it is. It'll be right on my docket for the new year. And then we've got the box. It's a thin thing, so we'll see. That's going to be a tough book to read, but those are the kind of books you have to read if you love nonfiction. So let's see here. Why is this thing fighting me? Why is this thing fighting me, Bean? It doesn't want to be fed to you. That's why it wants to live. Boy, oh boy. Boy, sorry about this, book too. This is the kind of thing that people edit out if they can edit things. All right, here's the box for you. It fought me, so it gets fed to the shredder. Well, let's see. It's wrapped as well. Gracious. Oh, fantastic. Okay. I've actually mentioned this. I think I did. Did I mention this, or did I mention it somewhere else? I can't remember if I mentioned it on this channel or not, but this is an amazing book. This comes out, I think it came out in October from 10 Speed Press. Oh no, it came out in September. Okay, it's by Rachel Ignatowski, and it's The Wondrous Workings of Planet Earth. And it's one of those books. I sometimes mention them, in fact, I make sure to underline them on this channel. It's one of those books, like 1,000 Books to Read Before You Die, like How to Invent Everything. It's one of those books that you can give to anybody. You're going to love it yourself, but you can also give it to anybody. And those books aren't as plentiful as you would think, so I try to underscore them whenever I can. And this is a pictorial guide and explanation to the whole of Earth. All of Earth's many, many ecosystems. Earth is an entire galaxy on its own. And it has a variety and an unpredictability that a lot of people living on it they're not aware of it. They check their own weather. But a lot of people, especially with the decline of science education in school, a lot of people are unaware of most of the stuff that's in this book. And it's beautifully illustrated all throughout. Like here's a breakdown of what a mangrove swamp is, what it is, how it forms, who lives there. and then a 2-page spread on the Mojave Desert, and it goes on like that in ways that are absolutely. Oh, look at that, British moorlands. There's a badger. It absolutely guaranteed to captivate you. It's done so well that it will. Oh, this is wonderful. So glad to have this copy. Okay, so this came out in September, but it will be in bookstores as the holidays approach, and it's a surefire thing. If you have like for instance, it's one of those big nature science books that's for all ages. So you could get this for a inquisitive kid. But you could also get it, for an inquisitive grandparent. It's an amazing look at the planet Earth. I highly, highly recommend it. How wonderful! So that's it. That is our mail haul for today. We've got the wondrous workings of planet Earth. That's just an amazing pictorial walkthrough of this incredible planet. Like nothing that we have anywhere in the solar system. Like nothing that we know about so far anywhere. Exoplanets are being found all the time, and we're learning more and more about them, but they're still unbelievably distant, so we don't know the details of their ecosystems, and we probably never will. This is about the wonder where you live. And then Say Nothing by Patrick Radden Keefe. This is about the troubles in Northern Ireland as seen through the lens of one particularly heartbreaking case. And A Ladder to the Sky by John Boyne. This is the American edition of his next novel, about a young and extremely slimy novelist on the make who's just attaches himself like a lamprey eel to a lonely old gay man in order to get all that he can to advance his own career, to the point where it doesn't take long in the course of this book before you really want this kid to get his comeuppance. That's great. That's great when an author can invoke that. So that is it. That is our mail for now. There might be more mail today. If so, you'll be the first to know. But in the meantime, I'll wrap this up, and I'll see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.